Hello, 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 hello. Goodness, we had some technical issues this morning. Technical issues. Wildly technical issues. I was wrestling with my camera for the better part of an hour. I'm here visually. I could have streamed on the webcam camera for the laptop, but I can't. I feel like I can't go back. Unless my wife has to take the camera in the morning, obviously. Welcome to the poetry studio. That's what it is. It's called the there you go. The poetry studio. I like pointing to the logos, kind of that sort of interaction with the cybertronically with everything. But yeah, it was just this week has not been a good week for the stream. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's exciting because we got this new camera. Last week, actually, I think we did a lot better. This week, it's just been, like there's technical issues here and there. I get started at 7:30. My routine's been crazy, but that's all right because I'm just here to write. It's all about writing that poetry. So, I still need a pause screen for all this. I'm going to kind of... Let's get started. So first I'm going to... we're going to read some poetry, as we have been. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Fool Killer. Yeah, the technical issues were just totally messy yesterday. Like, it's been a full 2 days of this. But, like, yesterday I kind of gave up after a while, and I was like, all right, I'll try to handle this tomorrow. Which wasn't a very get after it attitude. But then today was definitely a little different. Today I was able to kind of really get after it and get that fixed. So I'm just going to have you guys hold on for a quick second while I get this air off. Let's see. There we go. A little bit less ambient noise. All right. So let's get started and read some poetry. So we're going to continue along with Pablo Neruda. Once again, poems that I have not gotten a chance to preview before we get to read them. It's been very... just frantically getting myself on here. Goodness gracious, today I'm just all over the place. That's all right. How are you doing this morning, Fool Killer? It was fun to be on the stream with you last night for Akira. That was a real hit. So it was good to have you on there. And now I'm going to switch over to our poem for the day. So we always start by reading a poem. We've been reading the poems of Pablo Neruda, who is a very, very deeply, just very well written Chilean poet. Has a controversial history. So, but he's oftentimes been very accurate at being able to portray a thing here or there. So, this poem is entitled "Soldier Asleep." Let's give it a read. Soldier asleep. Derelict there in leafy encirclement, the soldier arrived. His weariness struck at him then, and he fell in the leaves and the lianas. At the foot of the Providence, the plumed and omnipotent God, alone with his universe, still warm from the jungles. Godhead looked long at the warrior outlandish born from the sea water. Stared long at those eyes, at the blood-clabbered beard, and the sword, the black scintillation of armor, the weariness weighing like haze on the head of the bloody young man. How many zones in the darkness, till the god of the feathers could be born and entwine on the wood and the rosette stone, the web of his volume. What a chaos of lunatic water, nocturnal ferocity. What ravening troves for the light, unregenerate yet. What crazed fermentation of lives and destruction. What bran of fertility, before the decorum could come. The orders of plants and clans. The cut stone disposed on stone. The smoke of the ritual lamps. Soil firm for the stance of a man. Disposition of tribes and tribunes of terrestrial gods. All the flakes of the rock shook. It felt a descent of terror like a swarming of insects, and massing the might of its properties, sent rain to the roots, conferred with the motions of the earth, still unmoved and obscured from the stone of its cosmic investiture. Unable to stir in a fang or a claw, a river, a temblor, a meteor's hits through the pit of its emperies, and remained in that place like a silence, a stone immobility, while Beltran of Cordoba slept on. Wow. A lot of very vivid images with this soldier asleep. But the meaning, for me at least, is a little escaped. But what I like about poems like this is that they give a theme. Like it's more about theme, you know. Like you might not like a lot of songs from the band called Band of Horses are kind of like that. That there is a feel to the poem, and it's powerful. The feel of the poem in this one, the chaos of lunatic water, soil firm for the stance of man, nocturnal ferocity. The idea is that the soldier is sleeping, but because he's so close to death and God and all these things, there's so much more swirling around his head. Like, if you ever get the feeling that, like, sometimes, like, there are angels fighting above us, I don't know, I've gotten that feeling sometimes. All the flakes of the rock shook. It felt a descent of the terror like the swarming of insects. I'm looking for where the references to the rock start. It's interesting. Well, I hope you enjoyed the reading. I certainly did. Let's get back. Oh, I think that we have it sorted out. All right, here we go. Fool Killer says he's doing good. About to do my daily poem reading, and the stream was very fun last night. That's awesome. What poem are you reading this morning? Are you reading the one that we were doing, or are you reading something different? If you let me know what you're reading, we can probably integrate it and we can read together. I love the idea of being able to share in that experience with people. Or you can just kind of read on your own, of course. So today I have a poem retype I have to do. I wrote a poem about a woman's son who had passed away years ago. And there was a key phrase which she wanted me to fix. And so the whole poem has to get retyped because, you know, typewriters. But this will be fun. I'm going to get the typewritten poem ready. Just checking something real quick. If there was anything else I was going to be doing this morning. Yeah, we can skip that. Alrighty. I just read a poem a day from my book of poems. I just read them in order. Oh, Sing Unto My Rondelay by Thomas Chatterton. I'm going to have to check that one out. There's some spam in the chat. That's okay. Whoa. Spam's coming in hot. We got to take care of it. I'm just writing down your poem. I will probably have it up for tomorrow's stream, which will be really cool. I'm sure that Akira had the same thing, but live streaming kind of comes in phases. There are days when it is very, when I'm very into it. Oh goodness. And there are days when I'm not very into it. All the, especially when all the technical stuff keeps messing up on me. There we go. That's a bit better. You're coming up in the world if the spam is starting, says Fool Killer. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Alright, now we're ready. There was actually a little, believe it or not, I just had to fix a little thing in there to be able to get everything working again. Goodness. I can't imagine what Twitcher or Alex goes through on a day-to-day basis when it comes to spam. You must have a lot of people that come through and try to spam, of course. That's what spammers do, they spam. 6, so we have to go to 3. at the poem straight on the page. Or the space. It is a different typewriter today. I forgot to mention that. One typo, but I'm not too worried about it. And this is where the change happens. One, two, three, four. $11, $19. So I think 25. So I should center here. 15. And another center. It's funny writing center justified poems on a typewriter. It's a weird thing to do. Ribbon rewind. Back to the beat. Fool Killer says, I hope that reading this poetry book will help me crack the mysteries of poetry, as I find it a very interesting art form. Well, I find it a very playful art form, for me. It's a little more than just, oh good, anyway, yawning so much. It's a little more than just, I mean, there's a lot of seriousness to it. But the great thing about it is that it's a lot of, mixing and melding of ideas, taking things that are unrelated and making them related, connecting things that break open the sense of reality. So, like, for example, that soldier sleeping poem was about a soldier sleeping, but it was also about the terrible power of war. And so poets are really good at that, at kind of extrapolating that. Prose can do that too, but prose is more limited, which is why I like poetry. Poetry, you can kind of break things open, and you can do it. It's kind of the 3.5-minute song version of the writing world, where you can very easily and very quickly come up and do a topic. Like, I've been retyping this poem, but this poem is it's a good poem, but like, I got this done in about 10 minutes, you know? And this is going to be a very, very suffused poem full of powerful mother imagery, maternal imagery. Here's my advocates. And yeah, tell me what you feel about how kind of what you've seen. What have you seen so far? Like, what are you feeling like, especially if you're coming at it a little more from the outside? What is it like to be interacting with it? Like, I'm really curious to know what your feelings have been so far. Alright, reached it at the end. It's a little tight. I'm going to have to check later on to see if this is too far to the bottom. See, there we go. That's good. You can see it there. Kind of reaches right to the end there. There are things I could have done to avoid that. It's not really centered on the page, but hey, c'est la vie with typewriter poetry. How is that different? Yeah, it's a little even further down than my signature was in the last one. I think I have a way I can make this a little better. All right, let me do a reading of this poem. The poem is entitled My Son. Her son died from something called SUDEP, which is sudden unexplained death from epilepsy. So, or something like that. So her son was just living and doing wonderful things in the world and was suffering from epilepsy, but was bearing it. And he passed away, which was really tragic. He died like 5 or 6 years ago, but apparently, as I've heard many times when writing poems about people that have passed away, the death is very close. Still very reticent to this woman. So, this is my son. There are things more real than ghosts, memories, visions, the repeating visage of the very way he would sit in a chair, or greet everyone like they were a friend. I don't need more words for the space he used to fill, so maybe some words, a verse to his living, giving the days lost back. A future where wings of a mother dove sheltered the hidden future, and find thanks for the days we had. If I am to watch this over and over, I can direct the scenes, as was always done, an advocate for my morrows. My son's death from SUDEP broke my heart, but a broken heart is love spilling into lives of friends, siblings, the whole stars filled with my complete maternity. For this unspeakable power he gave me in all my beauty. Now he is my advocate, my dove, finding my hidden future, directing the very every next breath I take. The very every next breath I take. Thank you so much, Fool Killer, for tuning in. Thank you for anybody else that's been lurking in the background. Really appreciate it. I am... The funny thing about the Poetry Studio is that it always, to me, seems like it's in... Right now, it still seems to be in some state of incremental improvements with an emphasis on the incremental. So I want to especially thank everybody that continues to come over, see it, look at it, even as it kind of goes through these bumbling half-hour starts. Maybe it's just a week, it's one of those weeks, and then next week things are going to be kind of a bit more in the groove, which will be really good. I was in a pretty good groove before, and then all this craziness with the camera kind of messed things up. But it looks good, and I want to keep it. I want another camera now for the typewriter, too. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. I am going to close out the stream. Before we do, Fool Killer, who has been studying some poetry kind of on his own, learning a little bit, reading poetry every day to kind of start absorbing the art form, says this: as I enjoy artwork of all forms, poetry just astounded me, as I am, in my opinion, a simple person. I can't analyze the deeper meaning of art even though I enjoy it very much. Well, I think that sometimes the deeper meanings are simple. I think that might be a key that might help you with the unlocking of that. What do you feel when you read something? It might not be textbook. It might be like, that was one of the things that really did help me actually start unlocking deeper meanings in poetry. It's just, what's the vibe? Is the vibe sad? The vibe's sad. Then that's something else. Might have happy words, but it's sad. That's the poetic kind of twist to it. And there are some poems, I will warn you, there are some poems and poets out there that will purposely write complicated, because they're writing to other academic English studiers, which is fine, but it's kind of the Rivetez, everything's a scam type of thing. So be on the lookout, fool killer, for those fool kills. And so if a poem seems unintelligible to you, move on. There's a lot of great poetry out there that's very able to be easily understood. So, and it can be easily understood on many levels. It could be a poem about the curtains are blue, but it could also be a poem about how the blue curtains represent sadness. That's the magic of it. But I look forward to hearing more about your journey as I continue my journey, and continue through my backlog of commissions. Thank you again. Oh goodness, still waking up this morning. Thank you again so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.